With Ohio State winning the national title this season, let's see where they rank among every college football playoff era national champion. Coming in at number 11, we have 2015 Alabama, a very one-dimensional team offensively speaking. Why wouldn't you be if you have Derrick Henry? But most people couldn't tell you who their quarterback was this season. It was Jake Coker. They played through an SEC that was in a bit of a down year overall as far as their competition, and then had a relatively easy playoff path. Coming in at number 10, we have 2014 Ohio State. This Buckeyes team faced a lot of adversity throughout the season, and that's not a secret at all. They lose early in the year to Virginia Tech, but then turn it on and figure it out with their third-string quarterback, Cardale Jones, and in large part due to Ezekiel Elliott's performances. People forget, but they were 7-point underdogs going into the game versus Oregon in the national title. Coming in at number 9, we have 2016 Clemson. This was the Tigers team that finally broke through for Dabo Swinney. Offensively speaking, they got a lot better this season, but they went through a relatively weak ACC, and defensively speaking, they were a little inconsistent at times. Coming in at number 8, we have 2021 Georgia. They were elite defensively this season, but had questions. Offensively speaking, there was the controversy with Stetson Bennett being the guy that was starting. People were wondering if he could win a national title, and then the doubts got even louder after they lost in the SEC title game to Alabama, but they ended up proving they could do it and winning the national title. Coming in at number 7, we have 2024 Ohio State. It's really tough to judge this team because they're the only team on this list with 2 losses. They're also the only team that had the number of top 10 wins that they had because of the playoff structure that existed. So I'm just going to go off of how good they were at their peak, which was really good, while also factoring in some of those losses, which I think puts them at 7. Coming in at number 6, we have 2023 Michigan. The Wolverines navigated a pretty easy non-conference schedule into a really strong conference play performance. They silenced a lot of doubters throughout the season, taking out top-tier competition, beating Ohio State at the end of the year, and then getting a couple nice playoff wins in a year where it was stacked with contenders. Coming in number 5, we have 2017 Alabama. This team featured a critical shift in offensive philosophy that had Jalen Hurts and the Crimson Tide's offense as one of the most feared in the entire country, and they rode that to a national championship in overtime where it ends up being Tua Tagovailoa who bails them out. Coming in number 4, we have 2022 Georgia. Basically an upgraded version of their 2021 iteration that featured an even more confident Stetson Bennett and even better weapons and an even better defense. Coming in number 3, we have 2018 Clemson. This was simply peak Clemson under Dabo Swinney. Trevor Lawrence was cooking, the defense was at an elite level, and they end up just tearing apart Alabama in the national title game, a team people were already talking about as potentially the greatest of all time. Coming in number 2, we have 2020 Alabama. This team was so ridiculously stacked with talent and went through a gauntlet of a schedule because of how the COVID scheduling panned out for them, and it didn't matter. They just crushed everyone and had a dominant performance in the national title game. Coming in at number 1, we have 2019 LSU. I don't know if I'll ever see a team again that had this much tangible and intangible domination. They just simply were not going to lose anytime they took the field in 2019. I would take 2019 LSU over anybody.